All right, everyone, we are back. I am Chase.
I'm Christian.
We are your RMFantasy SXperts here for round 2, deuce, of RMFantasy SXperts going into Glendale, Arizona.
That's right.
Now remember, for all you guys out there, we have 2 different ways to watch or listen. We got YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, or...
We also got podcasts on all the major platforms. We'll put the links below, so should be covered everywhere you go.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into the action. This is our race recap from Anaheim 1. All right, Christian, A1, it's in the books. Exciting race.
A lot to talk about.
Yes. Now, if you were watching, you already know. If you haven't had time to watch them, spoiler alert, here's your top 5. Justin Barcia.
First win in a long time.
Very long time, congrats. Ken Rocks in 2nd place. Tomac for 3rd. Dean Wilson, who led over half the race.
Awesome ride.
Calm the people's champ.
Yep.
Finished in 4th. Cooper Webb, probably I'd say the most impressive ride.
Yeah, he came back from 20th to 5th.
Dead last.
Respect that.
Yep, and we called it factory rider, 10th place, Cole Seeley.
Yeah, not a bad comeback race for him.
No, so, you know, the top 3 weren't too big of a surprise. Cooper Webb, Dean Wilson, I don't think many people saw that. We'll talk about those stats, but how did we do on our points?
Well, me and you combined for 48 points.
Not bad.
We got Roxon right.
I like the name you gave us, Stats and Lats.
Stats and Lats. We're taking on Jim and Daniel from Race Day Live. We know that. They only got 30.
They got 30? Ooh.
So we opened up an 18-point lead, not too bad.
I feel like Tomac opening up a big lead over Anderson right now.
I know.
I feel good about it.
I feel good, too.
All right, what about user stats?
The user stats were actually down low. The mud had a lot to do with that. So the average points were only 20.8, the lowest in an opener in 3 years.
Okay.
So nobody got a perfect score. Nobody got 5 correct. Only 7 players even had the top 5 in their top 5 in some type of order.
I would like to know how they came up with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the plus side, almost 40% did get at least 1 pick right. So it was okay.
Bad.
If you got over 20 points, you're doing all right.
If you got 1 rider right this week, you did good. And then Cole Seeley, only 6.8% had him for the wild card.
So what were your highlights from the race? What do you remember?
My highlights, I would have to say, 1 is Cooper Webb just charging from last place all the way up to 5th.
I had him in the wild card at 10th. When he started 20th, I was happy if he would have made it to 10th.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's in 5th.
But the highlight that I had was when he was sending that double-double at the very end of the race, just rocket ship, and you didn't know what was going to happen.
No regard for
props
human
to
life
him
at that point.
So that was pretty cool. And then the other ones, you have Aaron Plessinger, who just putting it to the champ.
He didn't even wait for Tomac to welcome him to the 450 class. He welcomed himself by passing
What do
him,
you have? What are your highlights?
battling him hard. Ryan Brees, the privateer, was in the main event. He was scaring me where we were sitting. He got stuck up on the tunnel trying to get over it, was stuck there for seemed like forever.
I didn't see it till you pointed it out.
There was a lot of people trying to help him out. It kind of scared me, but he made it out all right. So.
Okay.
After the mutter, no major injuries, so we can't be too mad about A1. So.
Right, wasn't too bad. So those are your results, but let's get into it. We are heading to Glendale, Arizona. These are the track trends.
So heading into Glendale, pretty cool track. I get excited for it every year. It's got a huge start. It's in a football stadium.
Huge start straight.
You know, shouldn't have to worry about the elements there.
No, it's in a dome.
Yep. So long start, long lanes, looks pretty fast. I'm excited for it.
Big rhythm sections, lots of 180 turns. I think it's going to be a really good racetrack. But also remember that the whoops there get hard. They don't typically break down. So who's that going to favor? Now, if we look at some 2018 highlights and before, so last year, Tomac, he won it in dominant fashion.
Oh, yeah. Led every lap, whole shot, everything.
Barcia actually took 2nd at Phoenix last year. And then Roxon took 3rd, Anderson 4th, Marvin Musquin took 5th. So
I don't think it's his track, to be honest, but we'll get into it a little more.
We will see. But a couple interesting stats on Arizona Supercross is that 1, the winner, or since 2016 and beyond till now, I am totally slaughtering this, but
you got it.
Since 2016, the winner has led every lap.
Which mostly in part is because 3 of the years was Eli Tomac.
Eli Tomac's won it 3 out of 4 years.
Roxon slid in a win there as well, led every lap too. So,
but pretty interesting though. So favors good starters.
Yeah,
that's what
I get out of it.
So yeah, if you haven't yet, watch the track map. It's on a lot of different platforms. I think it's gonna be a great race because of the track layout.
Agreed.
But let's get into it. We got to talk about it because a lot to talk about actually. Who is going to be our contenders for those top 5 spots? We're slaughtering again. Here we go. This is our top 5 contenders for the top 5. All right, so for this week's contenders, we have got on the table Jason Anderson, Justin Barcia, Ken Rocks, and Eli Tomac, and Marvin Musquin.
Going off the most popular riders, the
picked.
most picked. We're going to
Yep.
lump them together.
But
so.
a couple of these riders are iffy.
Let's get right to it.
Let's just
the
get out of the
elephant
way.
in the room. What is up with Marv and Anderson? They did not look good at A1. There's rumors of injuries or something going on. What do you
Rumor
think?
has it Marvin Musquin has a knee injury. So if you guys are watching, comment below if you're listening. Also, what do you guys think? What is up with Marv? Can he make a bounce back and crack the top 5? But remember last year, even he had 5th place last year in Phoenix, and he was not very good the years before that as well.
But he took 8th at A1. He only finished worse than 5th one time all last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like it's ever really been his truck. And now you have, or track, excuse me, and now you have this issue. I'm just not very confident in Marv for my top 5.
I'm not either. He's never podiumed in Glendale. He's just something's up with that man. I don't feel, let's throw him out.
Okay.
He's probably going to win now, but let's throw him out.
Party foul.
Get
Anderson.
back to Anderson. What do you think?
For me, it was evident something was wrong. I don't know if it was vision. Also, he had rumors that he got hurt as well this year in the offseason. So whether it was his injury that he did have or it was vision, something was wrong because he dropped like a tank in the ocean. He went from 4th place all the way down to 14th.
Yeah, something like 14th. The last time he lost that many positions was in Detroit of 2015.
It was bad.
So something's going on there. And he's also never podiumed in Glendale on a 450.
Interesting. All right. Now, Justin Bam Bam Barsha. Interesting. He comes out, he wins A1. Last year, he was 2nd in Phoenix. In Arizona. Was it Glendale or Phoenix last year?
It was Glendale.
Glendale, thank you. 2nd in Glendale last year, but he hadn't raced in Glendale or Phoenix for multiple years before that. So I'm on a high with Justin Barsha right now. He's easily in my top 3. What do you got for Ken Roxon?
Ken Roxon looked solid. I don't think there's any injury going on with him. He didn't look hindered by nothing. So he's podiumed 3 out of the last 4 in Glendale.
Okay.
He's qualified 8th, took 2nd at A1. So he's right up there, and he did win in Glendale in 2016, like we said. I think he's a safe 2nd, 3rd guy. There's nobody I'm going to put in 1st unless something crazy happens over Tomac this week.
I would agree. He's won it 3 out of 4 years. The last 2 times he has led every lap in dominant fashion. So you know he likes his track. So going into it, Tomac's confidence will be high.
Well, and the crazy thing to me is only 66% picked him to win last week. If that stays this week, you could make up a lot of points on people by putting him into 1st. And he did qualify in 10th in Glendale last year. So if he doesn't have, awesome qualifying results, don't worry.
Yeah.
He should be all right.
But statistically, Tomac's your best bet for 1st.
I agree.
All right, so there it is. Those are your top contenders. But now, let's talk about some other riders. Like we just saw last week, you always have some riders you're not expecting to mix it up in the top 5. Let's get into it. These are our weekly spoilers. All right, Christian, 5 riders on the table. Riders we think
could easily crack the top 5.
Some have already done it. Who do we got?
Aaron Plessinger, what do you think? Did the rain help him? Can he do it again on a dry track?
I think we all know Plessinger's good in the rain, but I think, 6th place, I think he's got confidence now. He feels like he belongs up there. He was even surprised. He surprised himself. He called his mom to say, Mom, I got 3rd in the heat race.
Well, he battled hard with Tomac, which impressed me. So
okay.
I like him.
I like Plessinger.
Savachi, your boy.
Savachi didn't have a good main, but he went down in the starter, got caught up when Webb went down. But I still think Savachi is going to crack the top 5 this year.
The whole day he looked good.
He did. So I still think Savachi easily a good spoiler alert. Dean Wilson,
you got to give him the respect that's due.
It wasn't. I don't think it was conditions that gave him a 4th place last week.
No, I think it was determination. That man was on a different level.
He got 2 good starts, heat race and the main, and he was running the pace fine, and he was a top qualifier.
He led 14 laps.
I would definitely look at qualifying for Dean Wilson.
Best
Any
start
of these guys.
Of all of last season was 4th.
Yep.
So he hasn't hole shotted in who knows how long.
I don't think he's not on a big bike.
He only made the top 5 one time when qualifying in the top 5 in all of 2018. He's already done that.
Props to that man.
Yeah.
Cooper Webb, like we said, very impressive ride from dead last all the way up to 5th place. I think for Webb, conditions definitely helped move him forward because he was just absolutely sending it.
I think he was riding angry, which I think is the best
even
riding
still,
for him.
like Plessinger, you give the man some confidence. If you give him mouse a cookie.
Was only in 9% of people's picks. You could easily make ground up on people by getting him in there.
I believe it. What about Malcolm Stewart?
Malcolm Stewart, my gosh. he rode in second place. How long was it? Like 10 out of the 20 laps.
Yeah.
Held people off for a while and he would have been in the top 5 if he wouldn't have crashed with like, 2 or 3 laps to go.
Yeah, he was trying to pass Dean Wilson for the lead. So yeah, he led
stamina
11 to 20 laps.
Really good. He got a really good start. I'm high up on Stewart this year.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? If you're watching, comment. Who do you think is going to have the biggest shot at being a spoiler again this week? If you're listening, also we want to know it. Who's going to be the spoiler? Because like we said, I think every week, we called it last week, I said a rookie is going to mix things up, crack the top 5, or something crazy is going to happen. So we'll see how it goes this week. But those are spoilers, so if you want to take a risk, there you have it. But this week, very difficult. Wild card, 6th place.
Yeah, really close to these guys.
Probably the hardest wild card to pick. So let's get into it. This is our wild card watch. All right, Christian, this week, wild card 6th place. So aside from the riders we just talked about as spoilers, we got a few more on the table that could easily be in the mix. Makes sense for 6th place. Did you put Chad Reed up here?
We know the people are going to be like, where's Chad Reed? He took 9th.
I'll tell you where Chad Reed is. He is on the ground.
All right.
Not physically, but metaphorically. He's not going to finish in the top 5.
You don't feel safe putting him
No, not 6, not top 5. No, but got 2 other riders. You've got Cole Seeley down there.
Cole Seeley, I mean, for a comeback ride to not hit the dirt, not have anything bad happen, 10th place, not bad. I mean, the field is stacked.
If he gets a start, he could be easily, I think, even a top 5 guy,
He had solid starts all last year until he got hurt, so we know he can do it.
Now, we're probably going to get a lot of slack for this, but Blake Baggett is on the table.
We both got Baggett fever.
A lot of people got Baggett fever.
I mean, he qualified first. We were all excited.
32% of people caught the fever with us and moved him in. But Baggett did qualify first last week. He had a horrible main event, but I think easily he could bounce back and easily land around that 6th place. So that is the wild card watch. Now, I'm pretty excited. Last year, if you guys were watching, this year if you're listening, we had what we call Between Two Berms with the 7 Deuce Deuce, Mr. Adam Mentichnap on the show. This year, we're going to have a lot of different guest speakers come on. They're going to give us their insight on tracks, on riders, but obviously to kick this year off, who better than to have the returning man himself.
The OG.
The OG.
Getting back on here.
So here it is. This is Between Two Berms with Adam Mentichnap. All right, everyone, so here he is, Between Two Berms, featuring the 7 Deuce Deuce, Adam Mentichnap. But Adam, it's a little weird. We've got a yellow number plate on the table with a 97 on it.
Yeah, let's clear that up. It was widespread panic, people freaking out, couldn't find the 722 out there, so. Tell them what's going on.
It's definitely a little bit weird, but the funniest thing about it is like somebody's like, dude, what's harder to get used to, the yellow front fender or the 97? And I said, honestly, probably the yellow front fender because, once I got on my bike, I don't really ever see the number. So I'm still a good old 7 Deuce Deuce on the inside. I mean, you guys might have to look at a 97, but I'll always be 7 Deuce Deuce.
Well, how is the new team? How are things going? How's the bike?
Dude, everything's going really good. I was bummed on my results this weekend, but then again, I broke my femur, in June. I haven't raced in 5 months or seen a racetrack really in about 5 months. So for the first one, I'm bummed, but if a bad ride for me this year is 5th in the LCQ, I think we're going to have a really awesome year.
All right. Well, all I'm saying is if next week Chiz gets in front of you, teammate or not.
Straight up, there's going to be yellow paint on yellow paint. Let's go.
Yellow on yellow crime.
All right, Adam. Well, so we got A1 out of the way. Obviously, you were there, so you know the results. The big question that we have is going into this weekend with Glendale, a lot of people are asking the question, can you take A1's results and are they valid for picks going into Glendale? In other words, did rain have a big factor, do you think, on the results that we saw in Anaheim?
Yes and no. I think it was just, I don't know, it's so hard because Supercross is so random now, but I think that some of the riders that you're going to look for to be up front this weekend that weren't necessarily, I mean, he was. I think Cooper Webb's going to do good this weekend just because he has so much confidence from the ride that he had last week. I don't know if Mookie will be as close as he was this last week in the mud, especially because the track looks so long and it's going to be, I don't know. I think it's gonna take a lot of fitness. So Mookie might fade just a little bit around that lap 15. I think he'll get better throughout the year. But I think as far as your top three goes, I mean, it's hard to go against, you know, Ken Roczen and Eli Tomac and Justin Barcia. I mean, Barcia looked amazing. He's gonna ride, you know, good whether it's muddy or not. Kenny's gonna ride good whether it's muddy or not, and so is Tomac. I think you might see Cooper Webb up in your, you know, fourth, maybe even get a third if something happens to one of those guys. But to be honest, you know, those guys were still jumping all the same jumps they were doing that when it wasn't raining, after it started raining. So, you know, I don't think that the rain is going to play as much. It's not going to be that much of a variable, to be honest. I think that Supercross is very tight now, and everybody's going so fast and so close. I think you're going to have to just go with your gut feeling this week, and you kind of know who the top 5 guys are, and I would expect Cooper Webb to do good.
All right. There you go. So you guys heard it. Rain, not too much of a factor as far as the top 5 results. But one more question real quick, Adam. Anderson and Musquin. Anderson, we know, did terrible, worst performance I've seen out of the returning champ. Musquin was just a steady 7th or 8th the whole race. Do you put Anderson or Musquin in your top 5 for Glendale? Just need a yes or no. What do we got?
Oh, gosh, that's hard. Because I heard through the grapevine that Anderson got hurt before the season, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Okay.
I heard that he might have hurt his arm or his wrist. So I don't know. But the problem with not putting Anderson in your top 5 is that there's a reason that he has the number 1 plate on his bike.
Okay.
So, you know, I would expect him to have some urgency this weekend because of such a bad first race and result that he, you know, he wants to be up in there. And, too, you know, for him, it could have been a little bit of a mud factor because, you know, if his arm or his wrist is hurting, like so-called, like they said, you know, he looked good in practice, if you ask me, decent. And maybe he was just babying it because it was a little more on the squirrely side in that mud, and he didn't want to hurt it anymore. And he was kind of like, you know, first round, it's raining, let's get this one out of the way, and then we'll go on to Glendale. So I would definitely consider putting him in the top 5. You can pick after practice, right?
Yep. You have up till the night show.
So what my recommendation for Marvin and Anderson is I would wait until you see their practice times, because the thing with this weekend is the track's not going to be as different, and the variable won't be as different with that rain. So those guys will probably have more confidence from their practice. You know, I think maybe it affected those 2 guys, but also, you know, Marvin was hurt with that knee injury, and then Anderson had supposedly something where he went to the hospital for his arm. So, you know, just watch those practice results and then make sure you keep Justin Barcia, Roczen, and Tomac in your top 3 for sure, or even in your top 5, and then kind of move around, you know, Anderson or Marvin.
Perfect. I like it. Well, hey, man, appreciate the info on that. You guys have heard it. That is Adam Enticknap, formerly known as the 7. No, I can't say formerly known. He is a 7 Deuce, currently known as 97. Adam, thanks for calling in. We appreciate the information. Good luck this weekend.
Yep.
Put it in the main.
Heck yeah, you know it, boys. Thank you.
All right, we'll see ya.
Late.
The late.
It just feels right getting him back on the show. Now it feels like the season's really started.
Yeah, but you know what time it is.
Time to lock him in.
Let's do it.
So, the segment everybody's been waiting for, time for us to lock in our picks. Easy choice for me, Eli Tomac to win. I don't know anything that could happen, really, to make me take him out. Justin Barcia, only 3% picked him to win last week. Only 50% put him in their top 5s. Only 2% picked him in the wild card.
You know what's funny? Is Daniel Blair said Barcia's going to win in Race Day Live, but then forgot to change his picks.
That's the way she goes.
Sorry,
sometimes.
Daniel.
So I got him up there in 2nd. Roczen a solid 3rd. Webb just... He scares me right now. He's riding mad.
He is not spinning a web of lies.
No, he's spinning a web of just flying. Dean Wilson, I look for him to have, a solid comeback week.
Okay.
And Aaron Plessinger for 6th place.
All right, I like it. So for me, I am going to switch things up a little bit. So for my top 3, I've just got them swapped around just a little. I've got Tomac for 1st, absolutely. Ken Roczen 2nd, Justin Barcia 3rd. And 4th place, I've actually got Joey Savacci. I think he's going to have a breakout ride this weekend. Like I said, I've got the confidence in the kid. And then 14, Mr. Colosili, I've got taken the last place in the top 5. Wild card pick. You know what? I was thinking Muscan, but literally during this show, I've changed my mind.
He just didn't look right.
I think Cooper Webb.
He didn't look good. He didn't look right.
No, I think he's going to take the top spot on that Red Bull KTM team.
I wouldn't have guessed it, but after A1, it's looking that way.
You never know. But there it is. Those are our picks. We're going to lock them in. Now remember, you can play with Christian and I. Christian, what's the name of our group?
RM Fantasy SX Rivals. Join up there, talk smack, see how you stack up against me and Chase and Jim and Daniel from Race Day Live. So.
Absolutely. So there it is. But now we got to talk about why you want to be playing Fantasy Supercross each and every week. So let's get into it. This is our prize recap.
So before we get into the prizes, this week's offer code CJS19. Use the banner on the fantasy page for closeout casual jackets, hoodies.
Ooh. Okay.
That'll get you an extra 10% off on those items.
For Friday, Saturday, right?
For Friday and Saturday only.
Okay.
So
perfect.
Make sure you hit that up.
Now, let's talk about why you want to play Fantasy Supercross, because we give away 100 weekly prizes, and here they are. A Cherubies $700 spending spree for 1st place. 2nd place, 2 sets of Pirelli MX32 mid to hard terrain tires. 3rd place, Bell Moto 9 with MIPS helmet. And then we got Cycra jumping in Fly Evolution gear, Pro Honda prize pack, Works Connection, Factory 4 stand and Titan skid plate. ASV's giving away some levers, Prospect goggles from Scott, View goggles from Fox, and of course, $10 Rocky Mountain gift cards.
Yep, that's just getting started. The grand prizes, don't forget, 1st place at the end of the year, we'll get a race prep KTM 450 SXF. 2nd place, KTM 250 SXF. 3rd, a Moab Red Rock getaway plus a Honda generator. Going down to a Monster Energy Cup trip, a Dunlop
favorite.
Brock Glover Legend ride. Fly racing gear, package, Milestone video games, console game and TV, 8th Motion Pro Tools, 9th Tusk Impact wheels, and last Oakley spending spree. So a lot up for grabs.
That's a lot of prizes we got to talk about. But there it is. That's why you want to be playing RM Fantasy SX. Remember, free to play. Get signed up. Go to RMFantasySX.com. Just create your account. Make your top 5 picks. Take that wild card. And go have a blast watching Monster Energy Supercross.
I like it.
There it is. Well, thanks for watching. I am Chase.
I'm Christian.
We'll see you next week.